take time out of your busy schedule. I think we do say this, there are 1,000,001 places that you could have been now. Or there are 1,000,001 things that you could have been doing now, but you chose to spend time with the family. We don't take it for granted, and I love it so much. Sundays, I just can't wait for Sunday afternoon because of family time. It is good. We bless God for the knowledge, the wisdom that is invading our space now. Through the medium of Wi-Fi, many are coming into some sort of understanding. I've had people walk to me face to face. I've had people message me, sharing their thoughts on what we are doing here, particularly this man talking about love. Some have asked for clarification, which some have also told me that they are confused, which is also good. It's good. The starting point is to be confused, because if you are from negative coming to positive, or positive going to negative, whichever way, you must get to zero, might get to neutral. So from -10, -9, -7, you need to hit zero before you start 1, 2, 3. So that zero is the confusion point. It is good. I love it when people come to tell me that they're confused rather than they come to ask me silly questions. We thank God for what He's doing. I was a chance upon is it this actress Viola Davis, a speech she was making, a speech she had made before. I chanced upon it on Facebook. Was it a day before yesterday? And she said something profound. And sometimes you don't look at this thing in biblical perspective. We think that, oh, this people is just making a speech. It's a powerful speech. She's just made a sentence which, we would think it's a motivational statement or something of that sort. We don't put it into perspective where we can say that God is, saying something to us that we ought to know, or the person is bringing our minds to something that we've not thought of it. So she said that anything that you ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And I paused and I went back again to listen to it again. Anything that you ever wanted or anything that you need is on the other side of fear. There is no fear in love. Perfect love casteth away all fear. There is no fear in God. The same as saying there is no fear in love. Perfect love takes away all fear. And so she's saying that anything that you ever was on the other side of fear, the other side of fear is love. It's perfect love. And
the one who actually said that, no, not to take anything away from her. Yeah. The gentleman called George Adair. He's an old poet. Yeah.
Beautiful. But this is the first time I've heard it. And it kind of makes sense to what we are saying and how we pray. Straight away, my mind went to prayer. And so we will go into the prayer room and bombard the Father with many things that we need. And mostly, we are bombarding the Father because we think He can do it, we cannot do it. We are afraid that we can't do it, so we are going to the Father. It's a cost 9 to work because you're already afraid. You are in fear. The Father you are going to is perfect love. And you are perfect love. It becomes a confusion prayer here. Straight away, my mind went to prayer. So for us, it makes sense when was it Peter, when he said that He has given us all things that pertains to life and godliness. All things. Everything that you can ever think of. Through the knowledge of Him. Through the understanding of love. Through the understanding of God. He's given us all things. And so if you are in perfect love, which is God or who is God, it's impossible for you to go back to Him and cry that you want anything. Because you're already in abundance. I think after this session, we need to look into prayer. Last year, we didn't do prayer last year. I think the last time we did anything on prayer was last 3 years. This year, we need to put prayer somewhere. on the calendar. But that is one area that I believe that we have become a bit ignorant and paints a bad picture of God. That is the father that you need to go and beg before he can do anything for you. Everything and anything that you ever want or you ever need is on the other side of fear. And that other side of fear is perfect love, which you are, which you are encapsulated in, which is your being. Which stands to reason that concerning you, there is nothing hidden from you. There's nothing far from you. There is nothing that you cannot achieve. There is nothing that you cannot have. There is nothing that... And just yesterday, I chanced upon a preaching that Pastor Chris was preaching. Somebody had titled it, was just a session of it, and the person has put a heading to it. Is Pastor Chris boasting or not? People like to take their time to analyze people's message. What was he saying? Pastor Chris was saying that as far as he is aware, and as he's standing there talking to them, there is nothing that he cannot have in this world. So if I don't have something, it's because I don't want it. I have everything, and I went to the comment section, and then people were in agreement, people were bombarding him, people were saying it's arrogant, people were saying all sort of things. And I paused and I said to myself, the man is saying something deep. If they say, if you don't agree with him, fine, go to your platform and say that you lack something. He believes that he's in perfect love. If he doesn't have something, it's because he doesn't need it. If he needs it, he will get it. He knows what he is talking about. He knows what he believes. He knows what he is. He knows the source and the foundation of his being, that it's love, perfect love. And therefore, he is in abundance. Everything that he ever needs is at his disposal. That is prayer. That is being in a place of knowing that you have everything. And so you wake up in the morning and you begin to appreciate the things that you have. And that is the thanksgiving that Paul talks about. Be careful for nothing, but in all things, by supplication and prayer, which is thanksgiving, let your request be made known. And so they put those words there, then becomes your request. You're asking for something. So somebody asked me, so what's the difference between prayer? What's the difference between supplication? What's the difference between all those words? Whether you are supplicating or you are praying or you are interceding or whatever you think you are doing, you are still talking to somebody. That's somebody who is not far from you, who is within. You are still in communication. So if I call you Rev and I begin to, Rev, can you do this for me? If I call you and I say, Rev, I miss you, I was just checking up on you. If I call you and I say, Rev, I have something for you. 3 different scenarios. They're still talking to you. They're still talking to you. Perfect love casts away all fear. You can't believe to be in God, quote unquote, as we think or as we have termed it, I'm in God or God is in me. And still be parading yourself in fear or in doubt. It's an insult to the very nature of Daddy. It's an insult to your being, to your very being. Because you are perfect love. And therefore there is nothing you lack. Something that I'm so grateful for, the knowledge and understanding that we carry as family. And so I make bold to say that I'm in need of nothing, I lack nothing. If I don't have it, it's because I don't need it. You can sit in your house and say that you are coming for £2,000. I won't give you. Not because I don't have. I won't give you. We thank God. This particular month, as we're talking about love, I just want us to be in this space. Not that we just come talk about it, treat it as a topic and we go away. And as we talk about it, if we leave this platform, let's find time to look deeply into what has been said and allow yourself to come to that realization. Allow yourself to bring yourself to that space. Bring yourself to that reality. It's one thing coming to listen. It's another thing bringing yourself to that reality. I cannot bring you to that reality. What that Rev can do, all that we are sharing here is to bring you awareness to that reality that should be that space that should be your reality. You need to bring yourself there. Do not be conformed to the things of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We thank God that we make bold to say that we are perfect love. We thank God that we make bold to say that we are in need of nothing. We thank God that we are able to say that concerning us, concerning the household of Wi-Fi, it has always been and will forever be from grace to grace, from glory to glory. Bible says the path of the righteous like the morning sun shine from brighter to brighter to brighter to brighter. That understanding we hold and we walk in that reality. So concerning the household of Wi-Fi, it is impossible for us to think ourselves less of God. If your mind cannot comprehend it, I declare you God. The God in me declares the God in you. God bless you. I hand over to Rev.
Sir.
Rev, before you take over, please give me permission to salute. I didn't know that grandfather is online. I just told my thing. I saw. I salute you, Pastor Prince. Oh, this one here. It's like you done something and opinion about what you know. I know he won't even say anything to embarrass. I feel embarrassed, so he won't say anything. But I salute you, Rev. Go on.
So thank you, sir. Love activation started week 3, and as the session went last week, we said that we were going to look, because it appeared there was a bit of, would I say, I don't want to say confusion, but there was, or it was highlighted the need for us to look at it, or look at love in relation with relationship. So I said that we will use today, maybe next week as well, depending on how today's session goes, and to deal with the subject. I'll throw a few things in, and we will have a discussion around, and then hopefully see if we can make sense. Just for the benefit of those who went here last week, and also those who are watching us on YouTube at this moment, we know on Facebook yet. I'll put the link in a bit. Summaries of what we did last week, or what we shared last week, if anyone would, please. Just 2-3 minute summaries of what we shared last. Anyone at all?
Yeah, bless you. I mean, the letter that I had, like a statement you made, you've made before, but last week, if I remember correctly, they say you cannot separate anything from love. Neither can you think that somebody doesn't have love. As we have always taught, I made this statement of something that I heard in the course of last week, and somebody said that the love that she has for believers is different from the love that she has for Muslim. Christian love is different. We do hear statement like that, and you made that clarification. You made that point, which I strongly believe in. To even say that somebody doesn't have love, or somebody's love is different from somebody's love, I don't know how to relate to that, because that will mean that the person's God is different from my God. If we have agreed that the source of all love is God, or God is love, and we emanate from God, then it stands to reason, or it's sensible to believe, or to know, or to think that everyone is of the same love. Everyone is of the same, so you can have different sort of love. And I think you made us read what Paul said in 1 Corinthians 8, when he did say that to us there is one God, the Father of whom are all things. And Paul did really say something which I believe is happening now, that we all of us have got perspective about love and God knowledge, and this knowledge is just puffed up knowledge, rituals passed down to us. We all believe in something. But what Paul said is for us, we have only but one God. And if there's only one God, then there's only one source of love, which is God himself. It makes everybody, or the love of everyone, the love that everyone has, comes from that same source. The love of God, which is shared in our hearts abroad. Not one man, not a group of men, but all men. Not by incantation or recitation, but by the Father himself. Because we came from him. He is the source of all things. If I decide to believe or not to believe, it doesn't change my source. If my daughter decides to disfather me or disown me as a father, it doesn't change the fact that she came from, my lunch. Let me use King James words. And so, yes, that's what I understood last week, that our love is the same. That concept of, and I've heard this thing last week, someone saying, a very prominent man in the ministry. Because I was going to call the person and ask the person why those terms. But as Christians, God expects us to love this way. And the people of the world, and I get really, really confused. The people of the world, and as Christians, God expects for us to live in a particular way. And my question was, which way was Abraham and Noah and all those who were not Christians? Because they were not Christians. Abraham, Noah, those people, they were not Christians. So if they were showing love to their wife, their children, or their neighbors, what sort of love, what kind of love were they showing to people? That was just beside the point. But these are some of the ignorant words that I've heard in the course of the week. But last week, in conclusion, that's what I heard. That the source of love is God. That source of love is in everyone, shared in the heart of every man. Not one man, Christ Jesus. not a group of men, believers, but all men. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Can I put it any other way? I just want us to go straight into what we want to talk about today. Team this is still part of love activation, but I've teamed it the signs of relationship. Okay. Or you can call it the art, the art of relationship, or the psychology of relationship, whichever one. And I've been thinking about a few things since we decided to have this session. Yesterday, for instance, a friend of mine invited me to a program, and we're having a chat. She wanted me to deal with the subject of causes, effects, and remedies for troubled marriages or troubled relationships. And a few things came to my mind whilst I was in that session. Of all the things we learn, whether being it in school or in life, I realized that not much focus is placed or not much attention is given to relationships. But we know and we understand that consciousness is all we are. And once we leave, we exit this physical or bodily phase of our existence. All that remains of us, you can call it spirit, you can call it consciousness. And I make an addition to it based on what I was thinking about yesterday. All that is left of us is relation. And let me explain. It's something that we can get away from. Whilst we exist in this space, we are bound to relate with ourselves. That is with yourself. And that's something you can get away from. None of us can get away from relationship with ourselves, primarily, which spills onto others. Hence, I believe the importance for us to give attention to this. It's not something that we get taught particularly. And I believe it's something that it comes to us as a bonus, but it's those who are able to, bear with me a second. Those who are able to make the most of relationships tend to reap more benefit out of life. Is this something we agree? You can possibly say that the impact one makes or the influence one has is directly linked to the quality of relationships they maintain, they keep, they get themselves into, or they engage with. True or true? It is. So in some corporate circles, they say that your network is your net worth, which is true to a certain extent. Okay? So, making a long story short, there's no getting away from it. Even to the point that even when we die, we still have a relationship. Do we know? It's okay, you're frozen, or is it me?
You can hear you.
Okay, because I think my connection might have been a bit unstable. Okay. So what I was saying is even in death, we still have relationships. And why do I say that? When someone loses a father, when someone loses a mother, does the relationship stop?
No, it doesn't.
There might be divergent opinions on it.
To me, it doesn't. The person is still your father. He's no more in the space that you can see. You can see him, but I can't get any other father. Somebody cannot become my father. He's still my father. So I still make reference to that dead person as my father.
So exactly. So even though people pass on in the way that we know them, the relationship still continue. Are you with me? I'm not getting any feedback. So I'm not sure if you're hearing me.
You can talk.
Come again?
I said we're listening.
Oh no. So I'm only saying that because I.
We can hear you. Go on.
No, I keep getting notification that my network is unstable. That's the reason why I'm asking what I'm asking.
It's fine. It hasn't stopped. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the relationship doesn't necessarily stop because people have passed on bodily. It still exists. See? Bear with me a second. Can you hear me?
Flow, man of God.
Oh. Hello?
Your network is fine. We can hear you.
Okay. No, what I'm hardly getting. I don't know for some reason. It's showing that I've got all right signal, but the image keeps stilling, so I'm not sure if you're hearing me. That's why. Okay, all right, that's fine.
If you cut
Okay.
us, I'll let you know. Just keep talking.
Okay, all right. So the point is, relationships don't expire just because people pass on or people move on or people die. It's still there. I wouldn't refer to, let's say, my father anything else than my father. I wouldn't refer to Nanama anything else as a sister. So even I'll say what was it called? I was making this reference last week within Christian circles where we talk about the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and these are these are men who are apparently dead and gone. And Paul, when he mentions them, he references that he's not a God of the dead, but a God of the living. when he makes reference to these supposed ancestors, just pointing us to the fact that the relationship doesn't change. So all of life is also a relationship. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is that right? Or do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. However, what we need to establish and understand as well is that relationship and love are totally different things. Yes, love relates, but love is not a relationship. It's a verb. We have already talked about that. It's a being. It's not a noun per se. It's not a state. It's a being in motion. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So I did say a couple of weeks ago that for me, I have migrated from being in love to being loved, because that makes better sense to me than being in love. Being in love still separates me from the love that I am. So I am a human being love. Okay? So I said that. So it is important for us to understand, unless anyone disagrees, but love is never a relationship. And a relationship is never love. Okay? It's never love. And I'll throw in scenarios that will highlight that point. So the fact that, and yes, we employ the love in us in relationships, and that is what makes us confuse relationship with love. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I will leave that there, because we can, if we think of it in this sense, you think of love as a flowing river, is a being, is never ending. We know Paul talks makes us understand that there's no full stop to it, there's no periods to it. But relationships, in some way, shape, or form, they have starting points, they have end points, don't they? The way we know it. Or certain relationships have start points, they have end points. Someone can be someone's friend today, 10 years down, they are no longer friends. Someone can be someone's boyfriend or girlfriend or boy or husband or whatever today. Come down the line, they are no longer. The relationship doesn't exist in that shape or form again, but love doesn't end, it doesn't continue. It's a continuum. Okay? So it's important for us to understand. So yes, it is true that or we can even allow or permit the saying that relationship is a subset, or is a subset of love, more or less. Do we agree? Well, let me have some acknowledgement if you agree with me on that.
Yeah, we agree. But that one is
okay.
Is yeah.
Okay. So relationship is who we are, in essence. And I had already said that even when we die, we still relate. Okay? We still relate. And it's what allows us to, or relating is what allows us to fully function in this space that we are, or in this life, or in this phase of our lives that we have outside of the womb and before we get to the tomb. Relationship is what allows us to function. So you can look at primarily, we can look at social relationships, you can look at economic relationships, you can look at environmental relationships. These are broad categories that come to mind. What part of what we are doing here is all social. The relationship you have with your friends is social. The relationship that you have with your schoolmate on social media is all social. You look at economic relationships that put you in a space where you can bring your produce, your products, your resources to use for the benefit of humanity. Business partners, what was it called? Your professional networks, all of that are relationships. And how we also relate with our environment, which has become something that I've become very passionate about in recent times, is also a relationship. Okay? But what brought about us choosing to go into this space of talking about this was due to when Amma said that, it kind of makes sense why they would bring these categories of love to try to distinguish between what sort of love is at play per time. And I was insisting that, yes, it might be that classification is helping put a distinction, but that has also created, or not that to me is what has mostly or largely created that confusion around love, where people are able to say, or people are tended to say, I love this person, and that love that I love that person is different from that person, and that love is different from that other person. I'm not sure if I made this analogy the last time. I might have used happiness as an example. Okay, if I'm looking forward, I'm not expecting you. Okay, and I come home from outside from work, and I come to find you in my house and get excited. Okay, and jumping all over the place because I'm so happy to see you. Would that be any different from me, let's say, receiving a gift that blows my mind? Is it different? Is it different levels or different dimensions of happiness, or the same happiness? It goes to all of us.
I think it's the same.
Why would you say it's the same?
Happiness is happiness. It's the same feeling. It's the same. How would I put it? Emotion you're using to feel is the same, isn't it? It doesn't change.
I like the way you use emotion. So happiness is happiness. If happiness is happiness, why isn't love love?
That's why we say love is love. Last week we did say love is love, but to whom you're expressing the love to? I think that's what they were trying to say by dividing it into agape, erotic. So that when I think, well, I'm only saying it from, people not confused. I'm not saying love is not love. The bottom line, you treat every human being, whether it be trees or animals, with love. The love emotions, but when they divided it into erotic, and so are you saying, because last time we talked about this weeks ago, years ago, you said they shouldn't have divided it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I still stand by it.
Okay.
Because it's just like someone saying, okay, I get happy because I received a gift of a car. I get happy because I'm looking forward to, and I see her. So the happiness I get from seeing my mom, missing her and seeing her, is mom happiness. The happiness I have from receiving a gift of a car is car happiness. It doesn't really wash, does it? So we are now beginning to use what is creating or what is giving stimulus of happiness to define what is not. You see, the love is love. Just so the challenge is now we're trying to use the portal, or what's it called? I'm looking for a word. The keys that is opening that particular portal to now classify the love. The key might be different, but it opens to the same room. Okay, let's do a bit of psychology and physiology here, because I think we will be a bit biased, and we'll look at it in terms of the relationship between, what is it called, a man and a woman. Okay, and we understand that men and women function differently. Do we know?
Yeah.
In very limited regards, not even in limited, to a large extent, we function differently. And if we are looking at it on the basis of gender, for instance, okay, now people are trying to convince us that they are more than binary. Okay, we just leave it there. It's contentious, but I don't want to go. I don't want to kind of muddle with that today. But if he says that make the inside of the cup clean and the outside shall doubtless be clean, the challenge we have with troubled relationships, or when someone stands and say, "Oh, this person is not, they are not being in love, they are not acting in love, they don't have love activated," it's purely from the basis of whether that person has got a good relationship with themselves. Will you agree with that?
Yeah.
So he was right when he says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." Okay. When you know who you are, when you understand who you are, when you have accepted who you are, it is easy for you to know, accept, and understand who the other is, because the other is you. Okay? So who are you? Who are you in your gender? Who are you in your persona? Who are you in your senses? Because we can't really separate, we can't really ignore these things. We've dealt with this before, that in each and every one of us, I hinted on this yesterday as well, in each and every one of us is male and female, because that's what the Bible teaches us, isn't it? Male and female created in them. Is that not what the scripture teaches?
Yes.
Okay. And we know that the story that we look at of creation, not just one of creation as we know it, but we have established when we were doing the What It Means to Be Human series that is dealing purely with the evolution of human consciousness, and not about trees and birds and snakes and anything of that sort. So I'm not going to bore you with that. But if you're looking at gender, one thing stands out. We can see and consider ourselves as sticks and whole beings, okay? And if you are under any illusions, or if you've got any objections to we all having male and female parts, just think of it. There's no human who is not a union of a sperm and an ovum. There's no human. That's right, isn't it? So we have all got male parts, we've all got feminine parts. And maybe sometimes the part which is more pronounced, we tend to identify ourselves as such. If you want to see men as stick beans and see women as wholes, what's called whole beans, whole as in HOLE, that is also true, and that is also it's also right to a large extent, in that we can broadly say that, okay, the male species are linear thinkers, they're straight, you want to get to the point, direct to conclusions, whereas women are bordered with depth and with detail. So a lot about our physiology also defines our psychology. True. So when we are armed with this understanding, it enhances how we are able to better relate and get the best out of ourselves and get the best out of each other and get the best out of whatever union we are presented with. Right. So that was just a bit of an intro to this session, a long intro, to be fair. And I would love us to, from where you were coming from the last time. I want us to put this question up and look at it for a bit. Okay. When one says they love another, do you accept loved ones for who they are or who they appear to be, or you love them too much to not have them the way they are?
I think all three.
Can you elaborate?
You said you love them for who they are, what they appear to be, and loving them too much to leave them the way they are.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a combination of all three. Because if you love someone, you love them for who they are, accepting them for what they are, not try to change the person in any way. Maybe, just like embracing them, allowing them to flourish in their own way, their own God-given way. And then, what's the second one again? What they appear to be. Who they appear to be. What do you mean when you mean by who they appear to be?
Okay, so I brought that in because sometimes, like we were having a chat this morning, the way someone may see this, maybe the way someone may see themselves, like let's say someone might consider themselves to be, let's say, for want of a better word, let me say a perfectionist, okay? Even though I don't like using that word, let me say that. But to you, they might not be that, or they might not be what they think to themselves they are, because you're seeing them from a perspective that is totally different from how they consider themselves to be. So the person might be coming across to them, they are a very honest person, in quote, and maybe their measure of honesty does not meet yours, so to you, they are not honest. And then that tends to affect, because how we perceive people and what we perceive people to be ultimately affects how we relate to them. Is that not true?
It does. But in the context of love, or based on my understanding, it shouldn't it shouldn't affect the way you relate to them.
You are saying shouldn't?
Yes, but it does to people.
So you are bringing idealism into it. Go on.
No, it all, at the end of the day, it all boils down to the two people involved, or the people involved, on how they see things, how they see the world from where they are. You understand? So, for instance, this morning when we're discussing, you did ask the questions you asked, and I was telling you the way that the person or maybe appears to be. Everybody would describe you differently. I would describe you differently. Kweku will describe you differently. I'm sure Pastor Prince will describe you differently. The kids will describe you differently. Marie will describe you differently, and Eben will describe you differently. All based on, these are all relationships that you have, but obviously you appear differently to these people. The way you appear to me is different from the way you appear to the kids and to K. You understand? So if that's what you're talking about, to me, obviously, people would always relate to you based on how you appear to them.
And then would you also say that sometimes does it go beyond how we appear to them to how they expect us to be?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's if we're dealing with love here, you let the person be who they are and deal with what if it's a negative character or behavior. The third thing you said, loving them too much to leave them the way they are, is to, you can contribute, give them feedback on what you think on certain aspects of their life or what they do. And obviously it's up to them to take it or not. And most of the time, people will take it. At the end of the day, it's a relationship.
Thank you. Any more, please? I know that expression.
What expression? For me or
the expression at the end of the submission.
I agree what you say. Yeah, it's true. For me, I also think similarly, as you said, that we have or most people have loved people based on how they appear to be. And also, when you meet people's expectation, they tend to confuse it with love, or they call it love because I've met your expectation. You want this, I'm able to give you. You want me to come and pick you up somewhere, I'm able to do that. Whatever you expect me to do, I'm able to meet that need at a particular point in time. So we classify that as love. And we have not been able to love people for who they really are. And I do say that I've shared this with you before when Dan started telling me I love you. When I used to work with him, when he started, it was weird to me. He was talking, he's going home, oh, I'll see you tomorrow, love you. And very beginning, I couldn't respond because my mind, Master, love you, tell you love to me there some way. Because, and then I got used to
because you were thinking erotic love.
Because that is what I know. I wasn't able to love people for who they are. My understanding of love was a bit some way, in a certain direction. And then I got used to it. I love you. Back in one of the days I was there with Mary, and that was coming from Romania. He comes and said, I love you. I said, I love you too. And then Mary's face changed. She just turned and looked at me. Was it that you took? I said, yeah. Hey, did you have to say I love you too? And I kind of understand her.
So they in her mind, their love you is just reserved for her.
And that is what we know. That is what they have taught us that love is. So that's what we do love to be. When I'm able to meet your expectation, or when the love that we think we have, is you get benefits on certain sort of benefit from it. And so when you are not getting anything from anybody, you think that love is different. I think that is where society, that's where we fall short as human beings. To me, I think that we ought to be able to love people for who they are, because who they are is love. I don't know if I'm making up until recently that I began to gain a bit more.
Can you mute the Pastor Prince? Maybe he doesn't know that he's on.
Okay, just bear.
Are you able to mute? You don't want his conversation to come out there.
It's me. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most of us are still in that space of thinking love is in a particular world. Love is for gain because my wife, I love my wife, but I cannot tell of mommy, I love you. And I said this when I saw my old admin girl at my old workplace. I said, oh, your hair is really nice. I said, but you have a wife? And I said, your hair is nice straight away. Said, but you have a wife? Because her mind straight away went somewhere. If I love her hair, it means I'm up to something. So that is what most of us, we have taught love to be. But when we begin to appreciate people for who they are and understand love to be that they are loved, I am loved, and I'm loving the person, not because the person is a professor, not because the person is a doctor, not because the person is a lawyer. I'm not loving this person because or his profession is a construction man, he hasn't got any benefit or he can't help me in any way, so I'm not loving the person. And we're able to love people regardless of the external form or clothes that we're wearing, as in our profession, our look, our makeup, our perfume, our shirt that we are wearing. You know, somebody can love somebody because the person is always wearing designer shirts, which is there. So it is true that in to a large extent, we tend to love people based on how they appear to us and the fact that they are able to meet our expectation, which I think is a very myopic view and understanding of love. I finish.
Thank you. Any more?
I just want to add to what Pastor Sam was saying about expectations. I think that we all have our models, the image we have in our head of how things ought to be or what to look like. And it all come from really far from our socialization, through our religion, our cultures, whatever, as to how we ought to do certain things in a certain way. So even if we bring it to our, in Christianity, oh, Jesus loves you. If you don't love him back, you're going to go to hell. Do you see the expectation there? You see the image there? God loves you. And so this is the image we have. If you don't love God back, then you're going to hell. So all the people that have, we've cast out,
it's not like you are what's called the term begging him to love you, isn't it? It's like
it's like
I'm not begging you to love me, but now you have come to love me, and because you have chosen to come to love me, I have to love you back by force.
So love has become very conditional. Okay, the conditional kind of. Okay, so Jesus love. We go out there and we preach this that God loves you, and the love that He has for you, He died for you, and then we guilt it up with He died for you. Oh my God, He did this for me, and now look at what I'm doing. So the love has become so clothed in conditions and guilt. So there's morals. So we are confusing love with morality, the do-goodies, and all that. And this also narrows down to our relationships, like you said, in our marriage relationship. So then the thing becomes like a bond, where rather relationships should help each other to reveal yourself as one. It should rather be the I would say the channel of your unification, which will make both of you get to know that the two became one, meaning that through our differences we discover our oneness. but rather we are dealing with a situation where, oh, we are in a love relationship. This is how it ought to be. And so whenever it breaks down or there's a split, the pain that we go through is not because of the split, it's because of the models we have in our head of how it ought to be. So all the struggle is because we have an image of how it's supposed to be. And since it hasn't been like that, now the challenge is I'm heading because it's supposed to be this way. So your in the beginning you said that love yourself first. I discovered the love of who you are first. Then you can love the other. And that means accepting yourself first. You can accept the other. You see? So the whole thing starts with you first and then the other, because you can only know yourself as a result of the other. Like we are a mirror, reflection of each other. See? So then if something, a relationship breaks down or whatever, I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as, oh, okay, I'm having a feeling or emotion of pain or hurt. Okay, something, as a result of that, something is evolving out of me. I can call it hurt, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm experiencing something that is helping me discover myself. See, if we can see it this way, and I'm not saying this is what it is, I'm saying, can we see it this way? It makes it more acceptable, for a wrong use of a word, acceptable or more understanding that, relationship is here to help us discover the love that we are and let go of the image of how love ought to be, because love has no definition. The surrender of love is all this differentiation that is making the expression of love possible. See? So let go of this image that, okay, you are my husband, so this is how you ought to behave. And then how about if, okay, you have a husband and he's getting into a relationship with another person, how does the husband feel? Is he happy there? And I'm asking the question, are you able to be happy for him being happy elsewhere? It's a tough question, but can we ask those questions too? You are
Very legitimate question.
you're exploring yourself, right? And through that you are beginning to know yourself too. So the relationships that we all are, social, economic, whatever, it's a way of helping us to know ourselves and discover the oneness that we are, because at the basis of this difference is one. Thank you.
Thank you. Interesting points that you made there, and that kind of sparks to mind when I was saying, remember when we were talking about a partner moving on, and I was saying jokingly that, okay, so I'm happy for you, bye-bye, enjoy. That kind of thing. And someone asked me, someone listened to it and asked me, are you people serious with what you're saying? And I'm like, yes, I am serious with what I'm saying, and everyone there, I believe, is serious with what they're saying. Of course, that is a very important question. Even though happiness might be, or not that might be, happiness is very subjective, because what might stimulate someone's happy senses might not be necessarily the same as that which opens another. So it's subjective, but the question is still valid. Someone finding happiness or fulfillment supposedly elsewhere, and if you love them, are you happy for them that they found happiness somewhere else? You see, it's a very legitimate question. I want us to pause and think about it. We've talked about this before, but it's come up again, and it's important for us. And for the friend who asked me that question, this also is something for you to think about. I know you are watching. It's something for you to think about, because you were asking a question in relation with me saying that we call ourselves lovebirds, but we throw tantrums when one wants to fly away. Bless their path and wish them well. It's just that. Well, I say that based on where I find myself now. And I've said it humorously a few times. And even though I've said it humorously, I mean it in very detail of my heart. I love her to bits. I said that if at any point you believe that someone could make you more fulfilled, who could fulfill your dreams in every way, who could make you feel, or who could press the you in you to emerge better than I can ever, or whoever's got better than being with me can ever make that unfold. Why should I be in the way? See the thing? It's just one of those things. You don't have to say anything. Because I can see your hand is, your finger is, your go say whatever you're going to say.
No, you already know what you've said this before, and I've given you my response. Hi, I won't say it.
So it's just one of those things. And that is a very valid point, man. Very, very valid point. Because like I was having a chat with someone a few weeks ago, and she was asking me if unconditional love was a possibility, because we were talking about this love and love. And I said that in the context of, let me say this, all of this also arise. Thank you. All of this also arise because we always objectify love, or we have the tendency to objectify love. And then it makes love an active emotion, and it reduces it to emotions again. So I love you, my love for something, my love for someone, my love for a condition, my love for an outcome, my love for a thing, my love for a being. So it's like every time we're talking love, we are using it and we are thinking it in terms of there being an object at the other end of the spectrum. But when we begin to think of it in terms of a being, that's what I said earlier. I am a human being love, not I am a human being in love with. The two different things. Because the objects is what develops or builds the conditions, is what builds the attachment. Because if there are no objects, there's nothing like unconditional. Love is love. You see? But because we bring objects in, objects come with it attachments, and then we have to find adjectives to define it. And then that unconditional love, conditional love also comes in, and it makes it all messy. You are the universe, and the universe is you. And if that is true, then all we are is love, and all we are is energy, because that is what the universe is. It's simply being, not being in. It's just a being. It's no requirement for an object, no requirement for an attachment, no requirement for even an active emotion. It's just being. I say this because this is what makes sense to me as it stands. You see, if you love someone, it's easy to say you accept the whole person. Is that not the case? I'm looking for some agreement or disagreement. You accept the whole person. So if you accept the whole person, from where would come the requirement to have them change something with them or something about them? Let's discuss that.
Yeah, so that I think that is when you come to know yourself that, oh, I thought I have accepted. Now I haven't. Because then the challenge, the challenge will come up and you would say, oh, I love you, I accept everything. And now something shows up, because trust me, something will show up for you
Something
to
will show
test
up.
your own resolve, okay? To see that for real, have I really accepted it? So that's what I'm saying. The relationships are, if there's anything called purpose or whatever, then it's for you to discover yourself and your results and your intentions or whatever that you have said. Oh, I love you. Okay, now the challenge is here, where somebody is in a relationship and the other is running away. Now you see that, oh, it wasn't really that I love him. I am attached to him. He's going away, and I'm feeling that the fact that he's separating. I'm feeling the pain of separation. See, so then, is your love really love, or is attachment? What is, you see? So there will always be an opportunity for you to discover the truth of who you truly think you are or who you are. Yes. So then you come to this understanding that, oh, I have an image of how love ought to be. And now it's not being that. Now I'm in pain because it's not being in the way, the image that I have. So yes, it's true. It will come to challenge you. And then you would see that, oh, I haven't surrendered to the love that I have. Is not the surrender, the accepting one, but rather is the one with attachment, where I want that. I don't want you to go. Hey, come back. Why are you doing this to me? Now you see that now. Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't really understand it.
It wasn't really about them in the first place. And that statement is something that I was going to come to. And you just kind of brought it out in time. If you love me, why would you treat me like this? If you love me, why will you talk to me like this? If you love me, why will you do this or that to me? Was it about you, or is it genuinely about the other? It's something that we need to critically, objectively think about. And when I think about these things, it helps me to really identify whether I'm supposedly, because you see, I use this over and over again. We treat relationships, the best of us treat relationships as avenues for us to draw desires and draw pleasure out of others. Because it's most of the time a case of what is in it for me.
Yeah.
Greater love has no more than this, than for one to lay down his life for the other. But often the time, the challenge comes because, just as you said, when shit hits the fan, we realize, oh, okay, it wasn't about them in the first place. It's been about me all the time. It wasn't about the other.
Isn't it?
It's been about me all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see?
So now you discover yourself.
Exactly. So situations will always cause us to, if genuinely we are in a place where we are open to awakening, to always bring it face to face with the very things that we think and we make ourselves believe we have mastered. And that's why I say this all the time, that you cannot tell me you are courageous when you don't have danger. Why? Because something that threatens you makes you afraid.
Yeah.
Can't tell me you've got courage. You cannot tell me you are patient when you are not, your tolerance is not tested.
Yep.
The only way you know that you're patient is being able to go under and stand. Very good point. Do we get in relationships, or do we get excited about relationships because it is giving us what we think is missing, what we think we lack, or we genuinely find out, or we genuinely relate because of the good that we've seen in the other, and we wanting to bring the abundance out of us to bear on the other.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful question too. Like you want to share. If we are coming from a place of I want to share out of my abundance with the other, I want to share it, right? So then you are coming from, because you don't, if you are coming from a place of, a friend of mine broke up with a guy because the guy said, nobody can make you happy. Because she goes, I'm very needy and I need companionship. And the guy is not forthcoming with it. And the guy is like, nobody can make you happy. He said the guy is mean. And I'm like, the guy is telling you the truth, but you are not hearing. Yeah. Why? Because you are coming from a place of need. And he can't fulfill that because already there's nothing he can do that will make you superficially. He can say all the lovey-dovey things and supply all the things and make you feel wanted. But then if it's not happening, and then boom, you are deflated again. So you become like a yo-yo. So why don't you find yourself? And you know what? If it's there, fine. If it's not there, it's okay too. Why? Because you are already fulfilled in yourself to the point that you are outflowing with the love from within. And so then if somebody is not coming up with whatever you are expecting or whatever, you are okay too. See, she won't accept that. See, and I'm like, then you're going to be struggling because I'm telling you, in the end, you become a burden on the other. Yep. Because the expectation is over, like you are never going to be fulfilled like that. Yeah. So
I was saying this in the chat I was having with someone yesterday, that she was still struggling with understanding where I'm coming from when I say that the moment love becomes relationship, then love becomes attachment. And it's just what it is. Because as you say now, you need companionship. You need that. You need that. You need this. You need that. And that for me is imprisonment. When a relationship is demanding, let's not even talk about money. Okay? Demanding in any shape or form. The demand for you to be there for me, the demand for you to love me, the demand for me to do this, the demand for you to do that, the demand for that is imprisonment, and that is imprisonment. And that essentially destroys you as a human because that destroys freedom.
I just wanted to add, I think that if we come from, this is just me, we are born into attachment. Attached to our body, attached to our families, attached with I use the symbol or the analogy of the umbilical cord. By descending into humanness, already you are attached. We are all born into somebodyness. You're given a name, you're given a profession. These are all somebody in school, right? And so the attachment, we have it. But then, like I said, relationships and all that engagement that surrounds and we engage in and go back and forth is for you to transcend this attachment and you to discover your oneness, the diffusion of the differences to reveal itself to you that, we are one. See, so that is the I will use the word curriculum. That your marriage, your relationship is a curriculum to you as a being human, into transition into your oneness, because whatever that is happening or shows up is all right. I'm out. Sorry, guys. I think my internet disconnected, so I'm gonna end it here.
Oh, sister, flow. Some of us are enjoying.
I'm not sure if you could hear me, but I think I was disconnected. But I'm ended in terms of maybe we should shift our perspective to understand that everything in life, including our relationships, is for you to come to that place of your original sense, which is the love that you are. And it doesn't matter how it appears. how difficult it appears, it is for you to transcend that attachment, that separateness, that because we are all born into that as humans. But
I
the
think
journey
somebody has
is that,
people have joined. Can we do something about it?
I'm sorry. Okay.
Samari, sorry.
Pastor Sam is very seriously doing
Нихуя
something.
себе, у нас артисты, блядь, используют выражение нахуй. А я, старик, проживший 73
Bro,
года,
black people so useless.
я слов кое-каких
I
оставил.
hate black